What are my thoughts about what?
Running for re-election in 2026.
That's
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026?
yes.
All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute.
Mitch freaking McConnell. You're familiar with him. Senate Majority Leader, longtime bane of Democrats' existence, has destroyed all comity, ITY, in the Senate. It used to be an institution where people talked to each other, hung out. Even center-right and right-wing Republicans were with Democrats, and they could make legislation and make things work together. Now, Joe Biden brought him over a couple times when it was in his best interest, because all he cares about are winning Senate seats and appointing judges and putting more money in politics. So when the bridges were falling between here and Kentucky, that infrastructure bill looked damn good, and he brought people along. But now Mitch is whining. You see, he's in the Lee Atwater portion of his career. You may remember Lee Atwater, who famously ran the Southern Strategy for Republicans, on his deathbed, apologized for everything he had done. The Willie Horton ad, he apologized to Mike Dukakis. And again, in the spirit of FAFO, what I've been talking about, Mike Dukakis accepted his apology. I would have told him to go to hell as he was dying and said, the quicker you get there, the better for humanity. He was an evil SOB who harmed God knows how many Black Americans with the lies he told and with the racially tinged politics he ran that still controls the Republican Party to this day. Well, Mitch McConnell's the same. He's had a couple things to say since Donald Trump won. First, he was just all broken up that Donald Trump might ignore Senate protocol and end up appointing people during recesses. Well, gee, why would somebody abuse Senate protocol and upset Mitch? Where would Trump have gotten that idea from? Could it be that Mitch McConnell has used the filibuster more than 90% of the times it's been used in history? That it was like a fail-safe backup thing that was used, an accident of history, not even in the Constitution? Mitch McConnell decided to make it that every single person who wanted to pass a bill had to get 60 votes. That's not the way it's supposed to work. In the Constitution, it is a majority chamber. He cheated, he lied, he stole. How did he lie and steal? Well, when it came time, he abused procedure again. What did he do? Made up some fake rule. This is called we need to have a right-wing majority of nutbags on the court rule. And that means that if Antonin Scalia dies in February of the year of the election, when the election really hasn't gotten going, Barack Obama, the Black president, doesn't get to put somebody on the court. That was a Mitch McConnell doing. We should have fought back and ignored the filibuster and, frankly, overrode it by using certain Senate procedures because it's not in the Constitution, but we didn't. We respected it as we too often do, and Mitch McConnell got his way. And then, he forgot about that whole thing about during a Senate election when it came time for him to put another judge on. So when Justice Bader Ginsburg died, we had already voted, a lot of us. We're in the middle of the election ending, but no, that was a good time to add another right-wing lunatic judge who's lacks the qualifications, intelligence, and really personal hygiene to be there. That may have been Brett Kavanaugh I was thinking of. But he couldn't help it because he was working out with Sweet and Nutmeg and Boo Boo and the guys. I don't remember their names. They worked out hard. He had it in his calendar, and that's why he wasn't a blackout drunk who was doing terrible things to women. He proved it with all that. In any case, Senate procedure. And then Mitch got really upset. He said, we're not going to become an isolationist party. We're internationalists. We're not going to become America first. That came up in the 1930s, and it was terrible for us. Hey, Mitch, I know you fell over recently, and there's some you're there at you just for about 2 minutes. No, I have these. Sorry, FAFO. Maybe you ought to think about the fact this guy ran on America first ever since 2016. That didn't stop you from supporting him. In fact, it didn't even get you to stand up when Barack Obama came to you with the intelligence. And even Paul Ryan, Speaker of the House, agreed to get up and make a joint statement to tell Russia to get the hell out of our elections. The only person who wouldn't do it was Mitch. And not only would he not do it, he said that if it were done, if Barack Obama got up and did it, and Paul Ryan wasn't going to do it if Mitch wouldn't, that he would claim it was a partisan maneuver and a lie and attack Democrats. Yeah, treason. He was going to allow Russians to help Trump win because, again, he's owned by corporations, and they wanted their judges and they wanted their tax cuts. And Mitch decided that was the most important thing. But you see, Mitch, you know what came along with that? A dude that's been repeating Russian talking points since he visited Russia in the 1980s. So what you got out of that is America first and hating NATO and supporting Putin and supporting Erdogan and supporting Orban and supporting Assad and supporting all these lunatics. And you get Donald Trump now saying that Tulsi Gabbard, who basically is like the trifecta, she's argued in favor of Putin, Xi, and Assad. There should be some kind of like award. She get like maybe some steak knives or something for that. Should be the head of our intelligence, so she can just pass it on directly to them. Right. You did that, Mitch, because you may remember there's this thing called January 6th, and you may remember that 57 senators were ready to convict Donald Trump for insurrection. You just needed 10 more Republicans. 7 Republicans were doing it on their own. And considering what you just did for John Thune and every other bill you've ever fought for, because you own so many Republicans in the Senate, because you're basically a corporate lady of the night and have been willing to do whatever any corporation tells you to raise their dirty money, which you've then used to put judges on courts who then further allowed more money into politics. Gee, you may have helped Donald Trump get to that point where he got reelected this time. First, you didn't disqualify him. And that day, by the way, you fully blamed him. You said he should be held responsible for January 6th. And then you voted to let him off so he could run again. Obviously, there are other forces that could have stopped him too. But you are in the top 3 or 4 of those that have enabled and pushed this man's career forward and destroyed, I don't know, could end up being democracy, but certainly a functioning democracy. So I don't want to hear you whine about what happens now. If we leave NATO, it's on you. If Russia gets more belligerent, it's on you. If Iran and China and others, China is running these military exercises right now that are scaring South Korea and Japan. So Japan and South Korea are going to arm, you can bet. Good job there. And parts of NATO, they're scared we're going to ditch them. So if you're in Belgium, let's say, or I don't know, Sweden, and you want to start developing nukes, I understand. You can't trust us anymore. Good job, Mitch. Way to choose America first, but now whine about it. And then the last one, the one I'm going to have to be very comfortable about here, very careful about here on YouTube, because they don't like us talking about this. But let's just say it has something to do with RFK Jr. Mitch McConnell, as a young man, had polio. He still has a limp because of it. So somehow he's personally offended now, after he got the guys that railed against modern medicine reelected. After, again, you know what I'm talking about with modern medicine. It's a YouTube thing here, and I have to be careful what I say. After you get the RFK Jr. and others surrounded himself with people attacking modern medicine, attacking the ways we prevent polio, prevent smallpox, and the rest. Well, now suddenly you're offended. You just came out and said, oh my God, how can anybody be so irresponsible? You can be, because you helped get the guy elected who surrounded himself with people who are doing that. And even if RFK Jr. doesn't make it, it doesn't matter. He isn't going to make it in the end, most likely. But you're going to have people making the argument. Whether polio is good or bad is now back in the public arena as an actual argument. Smallpox, the rest, is it worth it to do what it takes, which is nothing, because we know the science, to prevent it or not? We know what your answer is, because apparently it bothers you so much that you helped get Trump elected, because you even endorsed him this time, after he called your wife Coco Chow, and after he attacked you personally. So the reason maybe why Senate procedure is screwed, and Trump is going to use that to his advantage, the reason why we're in a America First 1930s support the fascist sort of pose is because of you. And the reason why Americans in vast numbers may become sick again. Unhealthy to the point of we will lose, I don't know how many lives, because it's because of you. You've done this all. You built it, to take back an old phrase. So, to take a line from, and again, not get myself in trouble here, take a line from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, where the evil emperor from Star Wars was actually in that movie. He played the butler. Shut up. And that's all I have for you, Mitch.